Hello, beautiful angels. Welcome to our post 11:11 call with a lot of wonderful updates and also wonderful activities of light that we co-created. So I think everybody here on this call participated in the events with either Patricia Cota Robles online that we co-created, and I see many of you here came with us to Arizona to do the incredible work which was accomplished so just miraculously. And so I'll share quite a bit about that. And if we have time, we will go and watch some of the videos. So thank you, all of you, for being here today and for supporting our 11/11 event in all the wonderful ways that all of us did. So, as you know, Patricia has been co-creating with us, or actually we have been co-creating with Patricia for many years. I think it's since 2009, so it's a very long time. 2010, I think, is when we started to produce the first videos. And so this work, has really grown in its outreach and in intensity and in the way that the company of heaven is able to work with us, through us, and to anchor all these magnificent divine energies into these videos that we do make, and then obviously they are available online as really eternal tools for this ascension process. And so this 11/11 was quite different from anything else that we have experienced in the past. And just the last few 11/11 portals have been quite different. Last year, we were aligning the magnetic axis of the world. And this year, we were participating in really the most magnificent, the most important, the most successful healing of this world. And I'll explain why that is so. And so everything, every year really depends on how many people are participating in really this expansion of light on this planet, how many people are making choices that are based in love, harmony, and consciousness, how many people are doing two things. Number one, it is really surmounting illusion. And number two is rising above duality. So we can really think about our purpose here on this planet at this time as the two most important tasks that we have internally, because everything has to start with our own being. And that is number one, truly transcending illusion. The biggest illusion that we know is the illusion that we are not all based in oneness. It doesn't look like it on the outside. It even looks like some people have enemies. Some people don't like something in someone. But the most important creation principle to be upheld by us on this planet specifically is the underlying, which means quite often invisible, oneness of all life. The illusion on this planet goes deep and has been here for a very long time. And it is important to know that we all are dreaming. We are all dreaming. We all have been dreaming a world into being, but we forgot. It was all meant to be a beautiful dream, a cosmic dream, just as all of cosmos is. So the knowledge that I have comes mainly from a great avatar whom we know in this world, in this civilization, as Yogananda. And Yogananda was not only an avatar on this planet, but he actually represented Divine Father and Divine Mother on this planet in the purest possible way. And so I got to meet Yogananda as really a cosmic being. And so a lot of this knowledge, and if not all of it, really comes through him originally. Not through his books, but through his direct teachings. And so we are dreaming. God is dreaming. The entire cosmos is a cosmic dream. and it was all meant to be beautiful. But we've been through this hijacking world, this world specifically, and even other worlds, but this one specifically for us, which is what matters, was hijacked by what we can call cosmic evil, which led to the fall that actually was the disconnect not only of us from our divine self, which is our I am presence, but also the earth herself was tilted in her axis. For us, the axis is the spine, and so we all ended up tilted without knowing it, which means a disconnect from the divine self. The divine self never ever moved anywhere, but we simply disconnected. And so that's why we then had all these wonderful techniques, how to again magnetize our spine, how to create a new electromagnetic field through Kriya Yoga, through meditation, through pranayama, all the breathing techniques. We were just simply trying to restore our being. And so in this world, we had this veil of illusion, which also let us forget that we are beings with immense power to dream reality into being. And so I would say most of us, if not all of us, in this world for many, 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 many thousands of years forgot that we have the power, and at the same time we still use the power, but in a powerless way. The power to dream reality into being, we have the power within us. So we are constantly creating reality through our mind, but unfortunately no longer the higher mind, but so much more by the lower mind. The lower mind is completely caught up in the dream as if it was real and as if it had power over us. And we call that reality. So that is our task, to transcend the illusion that we don't have power over reality. We can call it Maya. Illusion was meant to be fun, like a beautiful cosmic dream, like a beautiful game in which we play, and we use our higher mind to create beauty, to create fantastic creations within the cosmos. And here in this world, it was taken to the next level of perfection, that you could actually not only be creating the way that you create in the fourth dimension and the fifth dimension with your mind, you create things into being, but here we had this amazing opportunity, which was meant to be fun, to actually create even into matter. So to slow down the vibration of really quantum particles so much that they could become something tangible that our senses could perceive as real. Now the thing is that everything is real in cosmos as much as it also is not real. So it's a beautiful cosmic dream that right now is happening everywhere in cosmos. So you could say it is real. It is real here, it is real everywhere. But since it is one big dream within which we have many, many, many other dreams, you could also call it not real. So it really depends. But this is where the idea of, that we are in a dream actually comes from. So as you know, many of you are in Australia, and so obviously our original people, but I just want to say humanity, at some level and at some point they knew that they are in a dream time and that they can use their higher mind to dream and dream and dream, and here in this world that it would become so tangible and that we would have these senses that would allow us to touch and smell and taste and see and hear. So we just have to wake up, and we will, from the two different obstacles that actually are here within us. And the first one is that we believe that reality is somehow disconnected from us and that we haven't created it, but also that we don't have the power to change it. So everything has to start with consciousness, and so consciousness becomes the most important treasure within us. So every time we look at reality, and we call it reality, we look at the world, and if we point at it and say, I don't like it, then we actually forgot that we have the power to actually go within and create a new picture, because everything is a picture. And Yogananda call it even, a movie picture movie, or whatever it's called. He called it a novel. He called it a theater play. So you can call it all these things, but ultimately it was meant to be fun. It was meant to be beautiful, because why not to actually always be dreaming a variety of perfection? So in this world, because this world got hijacked by what we call cosmic evil a very long time ago, during the civilization that we know as Mu, some people call it Lemuria, but actually it was Mu. So during Mu, we got hijacked, and it became so overwhelming, and the illusion actually was also twisted. So no longer was it a beautiful dream, but it actually became very often also what we call a nightmare and then a beautiful dream. So we did have then the heaven and hell. This actually is a hijacked polarity that became what we today know as duality. The good and the bad, the wonderful and the suffering, the healthy and the pain, that all is the result of this cosmic evil hijacking what was meant to be beautiful. If you are interested in knowing the details of all of this, then Yogananda's Second Coming of Christ spells it all out, how it happened, who did it, how they did it. And so this is a lifetime unlike anything else we have experienced. In this lifetime, because we have so many beings on this planet who carry the light of God into this world, and they do it simply by being here, which really is you, all of you. It's all of us here. Everyone, we call them light workers, but we can also just say light bringers. These beings, when they come into this world, they are able to surmount the illusion and to rise above duality. And that is always our highest goal. So every single day, think about it this way. We each one of us have two highest goals in this world above all things. And that is always to rise above duality and to surmount illusion within and without. That's pretty much it. And so this lifetime is the end of this illusion. This lifetime is when we rise above duality, and we are obviously in the process of it. Some are still deeply, deeply lost in duality, especially, for example, you see it every time there is the right and the left. And when we have this split between love and hate, that all is obviously duality. The very intense hate in some people, the dislikes, and then also the preferences. But we do have to know that within divine reality, there is actually oneness within us. We feel one with, not only one with each other, but we also are not split internally. We just came back from Sedona and from Arizona, where we spent some time with the Hopi people. We went to the Hopi land, and it was 44 of us with the 2 Hopi guides that we had, which was really wonderful and so sacred in so many ways that are just indescribable. But the Hopi have, and this is a beautiful picture of Sedona, so I'm just going to keep it up here for a moment. The Hopi have, of course, all these wonderful stories about how cosmic evil entered the world. And I say wonderful stories because sometimes within a story, you have so much knowledge, but on the outside, the story doesn't really fully seem to have all the knowledge. So I would say that a lot of stories contain hidden knowledge. And so the Hopi told us, for example, the story of the one-hearted people who came from Atlantis, and they call it the third world, but also that Atlantis had a lot of two-hearted people, and they within them had already what we would call the virus, and the virus was the illusion, and the virus was duality. And so, how wonderful to call it one hearted and two hearted. That explains to us the duality, the two hearted ones. They were deeply lost in duality of we are not one, and also seeing all the perfections, but also imperfections. And everything has been a play of perfection and imperfection to actually create false satisfaction within people, but also false dissatisfaction. So that created then suffering and also desire. Again, this goes along with all the wonderful teachings of the avatar that we know as Yogananda. So all of this, this is cosmic knowledge. And so within the two-hearted ones, it was all about duality. The rich and the poor, the sick and the healthy, the good and the bad, the wonderful and the evil, the angels and demons. But again, I'm going to tell the story a little bit, what led to all of this, and how this lifetime is different, and how in this lifetime everything is going to change. So what happened on 11/11? So I'm gonna just tell a little bit story about how I've seen this from my own perspective outside of this reality. So when I was a little kid and I came into this world, I brought with me very strong connection to what we call the divine reality, and also guidance, which started to come immediately as soon as I entered this world, but also before I entered this world. And so there was a lot that was taking place, of course, in the higher realms of consciousness when we came here to instruct us, to give us exactly the clear path so that we don't get lost in this duality and in the illusion. And so I could see that the earth was going to go through a very huge opportunity to ascend into what we call today the new earth, but I also call it the ancient earth because of all the memories of the ancient earth. And so I knew that there will be different challenges that we will all have to go through in terms of choices. What will we choose? But I was visited at the age of 4 by a Hopi grandmother from the stars, and she gave me instructions at the age of 4. So, the body was 4, but the consciousness, of course, just like you and me, we don't have a 4-year-old consciousness when we are 4. We are immortal, eternal beings within this cosmic cycle. So, and she said, what will be required is the purification of the heart. And it only makes sense when we look at the story that I just shared, where the Hopi people speak about the one-hearted beings and the two-hearted beings. And she told me that if we manage to purify our hearts, that it will change our electromagnetic field, and that the electromagnetic field, which also is the result of, for example, doing some yogic practices, will then burst the illusion, that the illusion is also like an electromagnetic field, and that if a person lives completely as one-hearted one and is all love, then they pierce the illusion. It is burst open and it no longer can get to the person. And she said, in this lifetime, we will have to make some choices. And the most important choice that we will be making, or we will be asked to make, is really to say yes to our Divine Mother. This is to return to Divine Mother. And so Divine Mother, as you heard also Patricia say, has been coming back into this world slowly but surely, more and more intensely. And I witnessed her actually returning to this world just very recently. And it was in September, on September 2nd. And so Divine Mother, you know, it's a very big story. We will not speak about the whole story, but Divine Mother was disconnected because our hearts disconnected from true oneness of love. But Divine Mother has been coming back, and Divine Mother is the mother of nature. Not only is she the mother of cosmic nature, but she is the mother of nature that we see here around us. She's the mother of manifest nature. She's the mother of cosmic nature. So here on this planet, she is in the earth, she is in the trees, she is in the rocks, she is in our physical bodies, and that's very important. In this world, Divine Mother is in the physical body as the body Deva. She's the Deva, Deva meaning the mother of a form. So she is really the queen of the elemental queendom. And so as she's coming back, she's asking us to awaken again to nature. And this is what 1111 was about. And so I've had many, I don't know, thousands of divine experiences in this lifetime, all for the purpose of guiding us. And of course, sometimes it's a very personal experience, but very often actually it's about, you know, helping us as a collective, of course, and having these missions and to fulfill them. And the more missions we fulfill, of course, when they are assigned to us, I always say, let's not make up our missions. Let's wait for them to come when they come. It is very much like when we are ready, the Guru reveals himself. So when we are ready, it's all about actually being ready. Every day, I am ready. I am ready and I'm available. And that means on a personal level, we always need to be outside of the illusion with our consciousness, and we need to be outside of the duality, because when we are stuck in it, we are not ready. It really requires that pure heart. And the pure heart, for example, Yogananda, he demonstrated what a pure heart is. Even when he had enemies, even when people were unfriendly, he kept on being kind and smiling, because he knew that every single one of us is part of the underlying oneness of all life. He didn't do things like sending love to someone who's an enemy. He didn't do any of that. He just was all love, but in a strong way, which means also with boundaries. So it's very important. Sometimes it gets really confused in this world what it means to be all love, and that all love does have very healthy boundaries around itself. And at the same time, it is never changed. It always is in the same state every day. So the beings who are at the level like Yogananda, they are unchanging and unchangeable by any circumstances in the illusion. That's really amazing. Unchanging and unchangeable. And just to name, for example, a divine feminine being who embodied here in this world also as the unchangeable and unchanging, many of you might be familiar with her. It is Ananda Mai. Yes, that's right. And so unchanging and unchangeable. So when we are unchanging and unchangeable within, which is the divine self, which is the I am presence, then we are then available to fulfill missions. Because if someone wants to fulfill a mission but they are in the illusion, then the result will be more illusion. Anandamayi. And so we have been fulfilling a lot of wonderful missions here together. But I was shown a few months ago, I was out of body, which is really what the yogis also practiced. And it's a very specific process of separation from the physical body through breathing, through chanting, through really withdrawing from all the senses And of course, it's not easy. I know people project themselves into the astral world as well. And to me, the yogic technique, for example, that Yogananda practiced himself or Sri Kalashwar is different. Because I don't want to be lost in the astral, where you have, again, just illusion, but with many different layers to it. Which some of it is good, some of it is great, some of it is terrible, some of it is heavenly, some of it is hellish. But there is a technique that the yogis, developed, I guess, or discovered, and that is the process of separating from the senses. So once you are able to turn off all your senses, and I mean 5 senses, which means what remains is your true self. And when you are able to move out that way, then you are able to see things without the illusion, even though the illusion runs thick, even in the 4th dimension. And so many months ago, but it was this year, I suddenly ended up above the Grand Canyon. And that was very strange. I usually don't travel out of body on this planet. I usually go to different realms. But suddenly I was above the Grand Canyon. Now, maybe many of you visited the Grand Canyon as a beautiful national park, and that's how I knew the Grand Canyon in the past, as a beautiful national park. But I didn't know what I was actually able to then see when I was hovering above it in my etheric body. As I was in my etheric body above the Grand Canyon, I was clearly witnessing the point of emergence. The point of emergence is what the Hopi people speak about, and they call it Sipapu. And it is not exactly in the area of the Grand Canyon that is open to public right now. It is much more east. So I was above it, and I could see what happened at the end of Atlantis, what happened at the end of the third world. According to the Hopi cosmology, which I believe is extremely accurate because the Hopi people are actually the people from the Grand Central Sun, and they know of themselves as such. And they know that there are many on this planet who came from the Grand Central Sun when they for the first time came to be here on this beautiful planet that originally had a different name, and she was called in Cosmos Maravati. So Maravati. Because, right now we call her Mother Earth, but obviously she is the mother, Ma, and that remains the same. She is a mother, she is of the mother. And so these beings from the Grand Central Sun are the rainbow beings, the rainbow children, the rainbow tribes. And they are also the tribes of the golden light. The golden light, as you know, we always work with when we work, for example, with our golden light body, or when we are as light workers, we working with the light of God, it always is the golden light. But golden light combined with rainbow. And so when the Hopi people came here, they came here to establish, and it's not just the Hopi people, of course, it was the people of the earth as one who came from the Grand Central Sun to establish really what we would call evolution and life on planet Earth. So it was the first world, it ended, second world, it ended, and then Atlantis was the third world. When Atlantis ended, and this is from my own personal experience, just being able through my divine self to actually have access to some lifetimes. I don't know all my lifetimes on this planet, but I know the ones that I needed to know, because your divine self will always give you all that you need for this experience. All that you need is given to us when we show up and when we are reliable. And so my divine self gave me the memories, several memories of Atlantis, but really just the most important one, why Atlantis ended and how it ended, but even some other aspects of it. But then a lot of memories of what we call Mu. And so I could see as I was hovering above the Grand Canyon how Atlantis, when it ended and the new world emerged, we call it the fourth world. This is the fourth world. And that's why we speak about the fifth dimension, the fifth world really, as the next. And it really, everything still depends on our actions. Everything still depends on our choices, how and when the fifth world will be birthed. And so the emergence point is a portal because, we live in a time space reality that has many different portals, stargates, wormholes, and all of this becomes available to us through our multidimensional perception, which obviously is, at least I believe, has to be mastered through meditation and through transformation of energy within our nervous system. That is so important. And so when the emergence point became a portal through which first the one-hearted ones, which means they call them the holy ones, it means the ones who didn't sink into the two-hearted illusion, they were first ones to come through. But I could clearly see that as this portal opened, and of course the intention was that the end of Atlantis was a purification by water. Now the thing is that, as you know, obviously, even the end of Mu was purified by water, but the virus of cosmic evil remained on this planet, and it continued to spread, and it spread, as we say, like wildfire in Atlantis. And so many people became infected with the virus of duality, with the virus of separation, and with all the things that go with it. For example, the sexual energy of the human beings in Atlantis became also completely lowered to that lower state of lust and desire and dishonoring life force. And so all of this was really the reason why, again, Atlantis was purified by water, but again, it was not fully successful. And so when the portal to this fourth world opened, and it opened in Sipapu in the Grand Canyon, and I don't know if other portals opened too, but that's the one I was able to witness myself, then even though, again, the intention was, let's purify, let's bring the clean ones through, let's just, again, start again, fourth world, let's start clean and clear. Unfortunately, through the portal of Sipapu, the cosmic evil, again as virus, entered the fourth world. And just like viruses spread, so did the cosmic evil virus, which is again trapping people in duality, again creating suffering, again having things like disease, life and death, the way that we know it through birth and death. A lot of, obviously, suffering, but also pleasure. Suffering and pleasure, they come hand in hand when you are in distorted reality. And so when you have suffering and pleasure, it creates desire, and it perpetuates the illusion, and it perpetuates duality. It's a trap. The trap is by design. This trap was designed by the cosmic evil itself, and it was to trap as many immortal beings as possible in this desire and in the illusion that reality is real and it is not a reflection of our consciousness. So we are still in that world. We are still in the fourth world, sorry. We are in the fourth world. But again, it is so important that we know all of this when we move through our day and night, to remember that there is a trap which wanted us to believe that this reality has power over us and that desire is appropriate. And I don't mean sexual desire only, but it's one of those. But it's the desire for the conditions, desire for conditions, instead of being the creator of conditions. So this is really important. You and me and everyone else on this planet is a creator of conditions. And now is the time of purging, because some things has changed, and it changed on 11/11. I'll just keep this picture of the Grand Canyon because the story goes a little deeper than this, and then we'll move forward. And for me, the way I speak about it, I always try to read it, from like the ethers, all this information. And so Um, when I was able to see that we need to come to the Grand Canyon and that we should go with the Hopi people, then suddenly everything started to fall into place. And the mission was very clear. The mission was be at the Grand Canyon on 11/11, be present with whoever comes, which was our group of people, the 44 of us, and just be all love without thinking about anything. So part of the mission was not to even speak about it. Because when something is spoken in this world, if the illusion still is in charge of this world, illusion will try to completely hijack everything you are thinking about, you're planning, you want to fulfill. And so, for example, Sri Kaleshwar knew this, Yogananda knew this, and so some things were simply not even spoken, and some things were not even thought about, because thoughtlessness is the nature of the divine self. And so I knew that we had to go to the Grand Canyon to be thoughtless and to just have a wonderful time and to be in love, to bring the healing waters into the Grand Canyon and to simply pour the healing waters and to be with the Hopi people. So that's exactly what unfolded. So this is the 44 of us standing at the south rim of the Grand Canyon, chanting Om, meditating, and eventually pouring the healing waters into the Grand Canyon, which was our purpose. So we were guided by two wonderful Hopi guides, and they are Hopi in this lifetime in Hopi embodiment, but also they are cosmic beings just like you and me are. And just because we are in, we might be in a white body, in a, whatever, in an African American body, that doesn't mean we cannot be Hopi. So, or that we cannot be from the Grand Central Sun. It has nothing to do with the skin that we are in this world, but it has everything to do with our original cosmic DNA. And the cosmic DNA is really what determines our ability to fulfill these missions and who we truly are. So this was amazing. We got to chant Om, we got to be in love, we got to be with an incredible team of people while everyone else was online with Patricia. So we were able to tune in as well, and maybe you saw our comments. So it was huge. And I don't know, by now the event with Patricia was like at least 10,000 people participated in it. And it might be more actually, that's the last time that I looked. So this was amazing, the power of consciousness. And as you know, Patricia attracts people that are very, very balanced. And balance is the key. Balance means dedication. Balance means doing the work, knowing that this is important. And so I'm so grateful that this is the incredible circle around the world that we have. So this was our beautiful group, just, really being, and I know whether it was online or together, it was just powerful. So 11/11 was the sealing of the wound in the Grand Canyon, in the portal of Sipapu, sealing of it. I've been seeing this for many, many months. So you've seen me, show this envelope. I saw it as a seal on an envelope that seals the wound of the old world, Atlantis, sealing the virus and also transcending healing. It was not about a war. It was not about fighting. It was simply about sealing it. This was amazing. This is, in the Hopi village. When we got to visit with the Hopi, we were invited to the sacred dance on July 20th. And so a lot of things had to happen before we were able to fulfill our purpose on 11/11. And the purpose was fulfilled by everyone online and everyone in person. It had to be that kind of magnitude of energy. And so what was this all about? The origin of cosmic evil. As you can imagine, since there is only one cosmic cycle that originates in the heart of God, then cosmic evil too actually had to originate from oneness. And it did. All of life within this cosmic cycle is like music. And so all that music originated in And Gurge, have a look if you can see the video on our, on Green Tara, how many people have participated by now? Because last time I looked, it was definitely like 10,000 people. But it's amazing. So, originally everything comes from cosmic oneness. Okay, almost 11,000. Thank you. Jillian, thanks a lot. And so, in this cosmic oneness, in this cosmic cycle, obviously, you cannot say that evil is separate. Evil belonged, I'm going to say belonged, within this cosmic cycle. And all we know is this cosmic cycle, which, we cannot describe in terms of how many years a cosmic cycle is. Just imagine like trillions upon trillions of years. And so within this cosmic cycle, what we had is the separation of the Mahaprakriti. Mahaprakriti is the cosmic mother nature. And through sound, cosmic mother nature, and I'm going to say this was actually an accidental creation, because, we are here to experience all possibilities. You can think of it like a big, like a chemistry, alchemical lab. Wonderful, wonderful. Almost 11,000. Great. And so within this alchemical lab, which we call cosmos, all possibilities are welcome. It's a huge experiment of what is possible within cosmos until the end of this cosmic cycle, which will be the in-breath, upon which this cosmic cycle ends and a new cosmic cycle begins. The adventure is endless, which means, obviously, the divine within us and the divine that we are part of is eternal. So the cosmic cycles are very, very, very long in terms of human years. But again, we cannot even measure a cosmic cycle in human years. But within this cosmic cycle, within this alchemical lab, one thing was simply off. And what was off was just one sound. And that sound creates form, whether that form is a being, whether the form is a galaxy, a universe, it all starts with sound. Sound creates form, and then light moves upon the form and creates into beingness. There are beings who are simply experimenting with sound, and we know them as Hathor. And it's just very interesting. Sound is used to experiment, to create, and to create form. And so, as it can happen, even in an orchestra, one sound was simply off. And it was creating beings that are off and have been off within this cosmic cycle. We have known this sound in religions as Satan. So not Satan as one being, but Satan as a frequency that had intelligence, that had independence, and that had the freedom to create of itself. And in our yogic tradition, we have known the same force as apara prakriti, which means impure nature. So impure nature was the reason why Mu had to be sunk, why Atlantis fell, why in this world we've had suffering, pain, disease, and even death, but also even birth, which is very puzzling, but I'll leave it at that. It's a big story to tell. So within this cosmic cycle, nature always tries to correct herself. She can do it through chaos, or she can do it through evolution. And the way that you can describe how nature always tries to correct herself is, for example, if you are a gardener, you can observe nature always trying to correct herself. If a person was diseased and they had illness, the illness is a state of chaos within the body. But that too is actually an attempt of the body to create balance again. So sometimes through chaos, sometimes through illness, but nature is always a self-correcting mechanism, or she employs self-correcting mechanisms. Sometimes it takes a very long time, sometimes it's very quick. So let's say you have a tree that is not thriving. The tree will try to thrive. It is programmed by its cosmic DNA to thrive or seek thriving. The same for our physical body, the same for this planet. Everything is actually programmed to seek a state of balance and harmony. And so this cosmos that we are part of, this universe, which is a really part of cosmos because we have multiverses, and this galaxy has been trying for millions of years, if not longer, to find a state of harmony again. And that has been really energetically accomplished this year on 11/11 on this planet. This was the sealing of it. So no longer is there cosmic force that we refer to as Satan disconnected from life in this way, coming from oneness but disconnected. But actually it has been reintegrated where all are one again. This is a huge victory. And how will this play out? As you heard Patricia, for example, say that once something is accomplished in the causal world, it cannot be undone. This already has been accomplished in the causal world, and it cannot be undone. Same with the earth moving into a new place within this universe. It also has been accomplished, and it's in the causal world. Now, what does that mean for us? There is a blueprint within cosmos. Hard to comprehend it all, but there is a blueprint called the cosmic tree of life. I was able to actually see this tree of life in 2020 when, all of us are going through ascension, and all of us are experiencing ascension internally at the physical level, actually. Our cells are ascending, our nervous system is ascending, the body itself has been ascending since 2020 in absolutely magical ways. And so many of us, and I would say all of us, have been experiencing incredible revelations from within. And again, if you are a meditator, you are encouraging these revelations to be more obvious. And so that's why, for example, here as the Green Tara group, we meditate a lot together to be able to see more, know more, be guided in a better way, more clearer way. So we will continue to do these events on a regular basis, especially during this purging process. And we will also do a free online retreat around the solstice where we will be focusing on the divine self only, embodying the divine self. And so we will complete this purification with a free online retreat. I do what I do because I know what I know. That means there is no room for selfishness in this world. There's only an amazing opportunity to serve for all of us as much as we can with all that we are, just fulfilling this purpose, because nothing in this world can be satisfying more than doing the work, serving humanity and Mother Earth, and being always guided by the great heavenly spirit and by Divine Mother every single day, and to be responsible and to actually, always have the big boss being in charge. And the big boss is our divine self. So if we can bring one person to self-realization, that is victory. Victory. And not by force, but truly, it all has to be just simply, you are what you are. And if the person next to you can be ignited to be the same, meaning I am that I am my divine self, then we have fulfilled our purpose. That's pretty much what it is. And so I'll tell you what I experienced in this amazing 11:11. So, Patricia, she spoke about how important it was for the native people to go to the wounds within the earth, the wounds that have been caused by unconsciousness. And for me, the biggest wound that I actually witnessed, and that was part of this purpose, was in the Grand Canyon, the wound through which cosmic evil entered this world. So it was quite miraculous, everything that unfolded. The Hopi people took us to the Prophecy Rock, which normally is not accessible anymore. Even they don't have access to it unless they receive a specific permission. The morning that we went to the Hopi land on the 10th of November, they received a permission. So as we were driving to the Hopi land, I got a text saying, miracle just happened. We can go to the Prophecy Rock. The Prophecy Rock where this entire prophecy actually is. So we were taken to the Prophecy Rock. Amazing things happened. Everybody who was taking photos was actually taking photos of miracles because we were constantly surrounded by these incredible beings of rainbow light, and they would always manifest in our photos. And it was just incredible. And so on 11/11, the Hopi people said, we want to take you to Sipapu. And Sipapu, is not accessible at the moment. It is all locked for a reason. And the reason, of course, is because they know what Sipapu actually means and how it was the portal through which not only the wonderful and the one-hearted came, but also the two-hearted virus came through. And so we got to be there on 11/11, which was part of our purpose. And so as we stood around on 11/11 and we did our meditations, we poured the healing waters that we had from Patricia, but we also activated our additional waters and we mixed it all together, and everybody had a vial of the healing waters. We poured it in. So my third eye opened and I was able to suddenly witness what was taking place in Sipapu in the Grand Canyon. I saw unbelievable activity that was taking place on 11/11. And it was so many beings and so many energies, even timelines that were moving through Sipapu, through the point of emergence, whether it was going back to the third world of Atlantis or moving into this fourth world. And there was like a reconciliation, is that a word, of all that has taken place in the last 12,000 years. 12,000 years were being resolved on 11/11. Thank you, David. 12,000 years were being resolved on 11/11, which means just all the karmic patterns were balancing, all the energies. Who needed to go back to the third world went into the third world. Who needed to move forward into the fourth world moved. Timelines were purified. I saw so many different timelines being purified, and then suddenly everything was sealed. The seal just came and it landed in Sipapu, and as it sealed, the tree of life was erected, started to grow from the Sipapu. And I watched it grow and grow and grow. And first, it was not completely aligned. First, it was a part of it that was still struggling. But like I said, nature is always seeking self-correction. And so suddenly, all the elemental queendom came to assist the new blueprint for this world. To me, this is the beginning of the fifth world. The new blueprint was erected as the tree of life, and the entire elemental queendom, which includes also the animals, the birds, but also human beings, as our physical body is of the elemental queendom, every single one of them came to assist this tree of life. And after a few minutes, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, this tree of life found its harmony, found its balance. Now, I've heard psychics around the world now speak about the tree of life as the new blueprint that is now visible, and that is because that's what happened on 11/11. And not only because of the people who came to, the Grand Canyon, it was a cosmic moment. And so every single one of us added our light to this even possibility. So when the tree of life was in its full thriving, I saw many, 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 many children who are on this planet as the rainbow children come to the tree and just really bring their joy, bring their light to the rainbow tree of life. Now you have to know this is so interesting because the Hopi people have been waiting for the rainbow children for thousands of years, since the end of Atlantis, because they knew that the rainbow children will bring about the new world, the fifth world. Our guides told us that actually even during COVID, when the Hopi people didn't want anyone to come and visit them, they were hoping that the rainbow children would come, and so they kept even that door open. They had one home that always had to keep one door open. Yes, and I realized the Zoom had 500 limit, so I'll change that so that when we move forward, we can all of us be here. I thought I changed it, but obviously not. So let me just check one thing, and then I'll continue for a few minutes because there is more that just happened, and I want everyone to know what just happened because we all participated in this. In what I call higher realms, inner realms, whatever we're gonna call it. So this was the new blueprint that was established and completed on the inner realms, and it is now growing and expanding. So our event in Arizona ended the morning of November 12th when everybody departed and we went back home. But as I was in the morning, waking up and getting ready to pack and leave, I suddenly received a vision of the tree of life. And it was very much like you see here in this picture. It was filled with light blue light, and it looked as if the tree was filled with stars, and all of them were emanating light blue light. Now, if you have been on these calls before, then you know that when Divine Mother revealed herself recently in Cosmos, she was filled with light blue light. Now, maybe you can think of all the different beings in all our traditions, including Krishna, who were depicted as blue-skinned. Shiva, blue-skinned. Why is that? It is pure divine life force. It is pure cosmic consciousness. And so think about all the beings, very often depicted with light blue skin. And that's the reason for that, even in Egypt. So when we meet next time, we will watch the videos and we will see more, especially the video that this team co-created, which was part of Patricia's event, of course. And the video is just magnificent, but I just quickly want to speak for like maybe 5 more minutes to say what happened on November 13th. On November 13th, I got to witness all of us in a realm where humanity meets as one. And every single person embodied on this planet was asked to make a choice. And we were given just 2 options, which reminded me a little bit of the US elections. And so we had 2 options. And we were supposed to choose the way we want to move forward. And one option was a great option, and one option was obviously not a great option. And I say, believe it or not, but the vast majority of humans chose the greater option to move forward as one through this ascension process. So once we chose the better option, the vast majority of us, then another option was revealed to us. Kind of another cosmic election. And again, it's so funny that it mimicked the US elections. We only had 2 options. So again, humanity was asked, now, the next choice point. Again, choose now. What are you choosing? And again, on November 13th, which is 2 days ago, humanity chose the better option. And this is on the inner planes. This has absolutely zero to do with the elections in the US. This is on the inner planes. On the inner planes, humanity as one, the vast majority, chose twice to move forward towards the world that we know as the new Earth. I don't know if it is quite obvious. To me, nothing is so obvious when we are in the illusion of separation in this world. But I just want to say, what is really obvious to me is that on the inner planes, we do make good choices. And so that is the call for today. And as you know, we are in the 40-day of purging. So for example, if you go to Green Tara Guru YouTube channel, I put together a playlist with all the wonderful videos that we co-created with Patricia. You can find a lot of Violet Flame videos. As you know, also there is a channel on YouTube that really pretends to be Patricia. Patricia does not have a YouTube channel. So I just want to say that for some people this is surprising. Patricia does not have a YouTube channel. So there is someone, I don't know who uses her picture and posts all her videos. But we definitely have the originals on our YouTube, and those are the ones we co-created with Patricia. So moving forward, I just want to emphasize, this is the second coming of Christ. We are now here. And the second coming of Christ is something that we have co-created. We have made it possible by bringing the light of God into this world. And so every day we only have two goals and missions. And that is to be outside of illusion, which means transcending illusion and rising above duality. That's our highest goal. So again, I will send an email when we meet again. Our goal will be probably to be meeting at least once a week during this purging process. Again, you can go to the videos. If you work with Orin, then Orin and Deben has a wonderful violet flame meditation. And we will meet again at 5 p.m. this evening to go through these updates and to share a little bit and be together. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for co-creating this amazing 1111 and for making it such a huge, huge success and having the new design, the new blueprint of the Tree of Life. So thank you so much and many blessings.